And to round us out and give us a bit of a US/global perspective, we have Josh from comScore.
Thanks, Kristen. ICOM remains the only conference that I go to where first thing in the morning is the worst speaking slot. Thanks for making it out. I think some common themes are emerging across our presentations. I'm going to talk, by the way, about the US as opposed to global. Really, there are two big trends going on that I think are informing everything we do in the cross-platform space. On the digital side, we have fragmentation. There was a time when if you measured internet access from computers, you were measuring digital. But now people are accessing the internet from phones, tablets, wearables, gaming consoles, OTT devices. So digital fragmentation is making measurement increasingly complex. On the TV side, we've gone from television to multi-screen. So there are so many ways to consume TV content that, again, it's getting additionally complex. And this is informing the way that we have to measure. Scale is of paramount importance. We can no longer do what we need to do with a simple panel. So we are deploying through various census type or machine level data sets. We've got data on hundreds of millions of computer screens and phones and tablets, tens of millions of set-top boxes. And we need to bring all of this massive data to bear. However, I need to caution that big data sets are not an end in and of themselves. So just quickly, how many of you are at a company where you've got a database of millions of users at the device level where you have kind of demographics and other targeting variables for the purposes of activation? So some of you are lying, but I'm going to say basically everybody. So maybe the data assets that we have aren't a differentiator quite so much as table stakes. When I worked at Arbitron in the 80s, we talked about data as a disparagement. We said that our job was to turn data into information, and then information into insight, and then to bring that insight to bear by taking action. Data is really a top-of-funnel asset, and the challenge is to bring us down the path. So don't think in terms of the data sets that your measurement provider deploys. Think of those data sets in the context of a measurement system. You've got to look at the whole of the measurement system. An important theme in our business now is that cross-platform audience measurement is a team sport. We can't do it by ourselves. We need publishers to tag for us. We need you to tag your players, your SDKs, your websites. We're using set-top box data, which is another way that we're getting large data sets from partners. We can't, no company can do this by ourselves anymore. So let me talk briefly about how we do multi-screen measurement in the US. Just a quick overview. So let's start up there in the corner. So we've got about 17 million households where we have set-top box data across the sets. That's a massive database that lets us have, I would say, unparalleled granularity with respect to the way people, with the way TV programs are being consumed. But that's at the household and the set level. In addition, we have a panel asset, what used to be the Arbitron, now it's the Nielsen Audio People Meter panel of about 70,000 people. So we're using the person's panel to give us demographic viewers per viewing household, VPVH. So that tells us how many people are in front of the screen and what their demography is. So we apply that against the census. I know George Ivey's here. He doesn't like me to call set-top box data census data. I'll call it a big machine data set. So we apply the person's level data against the machine data set to give us very granular rating data for programs. Bring that together in what I like to call the purple circle. Then we have our digital data, large panels and massive census data sets. And then we take the digital data at the person's level, we integrate it with the TV data at what I like to call the red circle stage. And then we deduplicate the consumption across screens through a collection of single source data assets from which we're able to see multiple media exposures. So for example, we have a a virtual or an ad hoc panel of about 3 million households, about 10 million people, where we have the set-top box data, plus we can see all the digital data from all the publishers that are tagging their assets. So that gives us the ability to understand duplication at a very massive granular level. And so then after we deduplicate it, we output into our various reporting suites. But cutting-edge big data assets aren't the end of the game. We also need a fresh approach to panel measurement. So let me talk about the panel that we're building in the US. We're building what we call a total home panel, where we take the meter measurement from the computer. We used to, it used to be enough to put a meter on a computer. We move the measurement out to the router, or for my British friends in the audience, the router, so that we're able to capture all the digital device usage, phones, computers, tablets, but also wearables, over-the-top television, OTT devices, gaming consoles, Sonos. We're seeing Sonos systems. We're seeing thermostats. You know, whatever is using the Wi-Fi router in the household, we're able to see that usage. This panel, we're building to, by the way, to about 25,000 households. In addition, in half those households, we're placing TV meters with persons collection. So we'll have a footprint of about 12,500 households from which we're collecting all the digital data and all the TV data. That's going to be a very powerful single source asset that we're going to be able to use both for calibrating the larger machine level data sets and also having a very powerful understanding of cross-screen duplication. So, you know, with the time slots that were allotted here today, it's hard to go into too much detail. So I really just wanted to give you all the big picture and hit on the key themes. So I'm just going to sort of summarize and tick them off. So big data assets are absolutely necessary in order to report with sufficient granularity. But these assets must be deployed intelligently in the service of a holistic measurement system. So don't be swayed by any of us that talk to you about our big data assets. Make sure you understand the whole system. Media operators have to partner with us so that we can do this together. Parsing duplication across screen is important and tricky. And we need to deploy both what I'll call found assets, machine-level assets like return path data, and also smart panel assets that we build ourselves, and deploy all that in the service of multi-screen measurement. Thank you.